cannot share my glory with any man.
All right. So please, can I get one more chair, I think?
One more chair, even if there's two, please bring. One more chair.
All right. Thank you, Ralph. And don't worry, I know will worry you. So don't worry me. Huh?
It's working.
This is working.
Good.
Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, my name is Odiong Akwan. I'm from Ikorede village in Ibom local government area.
Say again, we did not hear that, sir.
I'm from Ikorede village. Ikorede. Ikorede.
Oh, there.
Ikorede. Ikorede.
Which ward? Did you do elections?
So I would be proudly anchoring this session as an Amani song.
Good.
And we've run a bit behind schedule, but I'll try my best to expedite the conversations. This panel is about collaboration. The title here says Synergy, the Power of Collaborative Ecosystems. I will talk about it for 1 minute. So essentially, we've been hearing about startups and technology and maybe fintech and the likes. Our thesis is that all of these things are all well and good, but they will not work very well if we do not collaborate. So I'll be calling onto the panel people from the academia, people from governments, people from the funding institutions, people from even the soft skills, such that we would explore how best to collaborate and ensure that if we say we want to make Akwa Ibom Africa's next tech destination, we should work hand in hand with everyone concerned to ensure that that becomes a reality. So I will be calling on stage great minds, experienced people to come sit down and share their experiences and their thoughts about how best to collaborate. The first person I'll call would be Unwana Esang. Please join me. Unwana is a financial services and strategy expert.
Unwana Esang, please clap, please. Please.
Next, I will call on Nanke Essien, founder CISA.
Women support women, oh, women, oh.
I would call on Francis or Tony Onuk. Sorry. Tony, please come through. Tony is the founder of the Roots Hub. So when you hear us talking about the hubs, the people that have built the ecosystem in Uyo and Akwa Ibom, their name comes up. He's a twin, so they have really worked so hard to help in building out the ecosystem. I will call on my friend and brother, the SSA to the government of Akwa Ibom State, Honorable Ime Uwa.
Ladies and gentlemen, please clap for government, please.
I also would call on... Oh, sorry? Okay. I'll call on Professor Edu Inam. He's representing the academic community.
Haba. People with that beard. Can you clap for a prof, please?
Thank you very much. So I'll put a bit of a spin on this. I would ask them to introduce themselves in about 2 minutes each, and within that introduction, they would tell us what collaboration means to them and how they think collaboration would work in making Akwa Ibom the next Africa's tech destination. So I'll start with you, Prof. I do know that academia is it's sometimes omitted in these conversations. I don't know why. So I guess you can tell us about yourself and then how best we can ensure that academia, which is research centers, universities, tertiary institutions, would be part of this conversation because Silicon Valley was built with such synergies. So Professor, please, thank you very much and welcome.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Like I've been introduced, I'm a professor of chemistry and currently I'm the head of department of chemistry. I know you'll be wondering what chemistry has to do with all of this, but as the conversation goes, we will get to understand. But interestingly, I have been the Director of Research and Innovation in my university, driving research and innovation. Coming here, there's a lot that has been said, whether in terms of sustainability, whether in terms of research, and then the big one, collaboration. First of all, I'd just like to congratulate our role model, our ambassador, Anenu Dobong, for the wonderful thing and for having this event. I want to congratulate the organizers, especially for also bringing this topic up, because like you rightly said, the university and the academia seems to always be left behind. But it's important that we need to be at the beginning of this conversation. Why? So that we do not repeat. You know, today, I mean, when the RAF spoke, he said that, you know, you needed people to do a certain thing, and they had to train people, and then they did not come back. And then he mentioned about oil. So you imagine oil was developing and was discovered in Nigeria 50 years ago. But surprisingly, you know, do we have any Nigerian technology? Now we have the content board trying to see how we can get some technology within local technology to replace some of the foreign technology in the oil sector. So it's important that we do not repeat that mistake. So that's why it's important that at this early stage, the university, the academia must be in the conversation. Again, to underscore what Nick said, everything starts with schooling. And I believe that we are the primary trainers. We are the pit stop. Whether you talk about all the hubs, you make use of our products. And if the raw materials are not of good quality, then what happens, whether you're talking about the pipeline, you know, so what happens if you want to produce a product and your raw materials are not of good quality? So we need collaboration, whether in terms of sustaining the feedstock. So we need to collaborate, whether in terms of developing the quality of the feedstock so that the feedstock will be useful. We need the collaboration. Whether in terms of, you know, we've talked a lot about startups. So these startups, you know, they need research and innovation. And I believe that we in the academia, we should have taken research and innovation to help the startup so that they can also be sustainable. You know, it breaks my heart when you hear, I mean, you go and you are being told that, I mean, some other countries, they can predict our consumption pattern in the next 50 years. So what are we researchers? What are we in the academia doing? How do we come up with researches that are market-driven, that meet that are product-driven? How do you co-develop? So that is why it's important for us to have this collaboration. And again, when we talk about technology, I hear a lot about fintech. What about education technology? How can we, yes, like somebody mentioned here that if you have a perfect manual system, then you can bring in technology. So how can we also in the academia, how can we also bring technology to help us to also be more efficient in whatever we are doing? So I see a lot of win-win opportunities here in collaboration. So let me stop at that for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Just in case I forget, if you want more, you need to pay tuition fees, and Prof will give you more. So, Tony, I'll come to you. I've seen you in a couple of forums, and I want you to introduce yourself and say what collaboration means to you and where you think synergy can work. Please, 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, good evening. I think the perfect example of collaboration, because I have a twin brother, and we collaborated in my mom's womb, so to speak. So we co-founded Root Up as a collaborative space for young people to come through and begin to look at their ideas and have the tools, the resources, the support, the human capital to be able to bring those ideas into reality. What collaboration means is we're a product of, everybody's a sum product of either your background, your family influences, the schools you went to, and basically the people you surround yourself with. And we believe so much that the energy the next person exudes could hamper you either positively or negatively. And that's what collaboration means. So at the root of what we do is if you have an idea and you know someone who is a graphic designer, you know someone who is a web developer, app developer, digital marketer, data analyst, you could come collaborate in this space and bring the ideas that you have to life. that to me is the perfect example of what collaboration should be and how it could help people go from point zero to whatever point they want to get to. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. As I said earlier, Tony and his brother have been very instrumental in building out the tech ecosystem in Akwa Ibom. And I'll shift gears to Honorable Ime Uwa, who has been very instrumental in the entrepreneurship development. I know he's an entrepreneur himself, so I wouldn't introduce you for that. I'll let you introduce yourself. But again, in the context of this conversation, whilst you're introducing yourself, say how best collaboration will help us get to that destination. Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Ime Uwa. I assist the governor of Akwa Ibom State to help develop young Akwa Ibom persons that are interested in entrepreneurship. And so I say I'm a public servant, but when I'm not doing that, I also run a business. When I'm not doing that, I also run a business of making it easy for people to eat on the go. So for me, collaboration is from the government's point of view, but I would like to use my business to explain the way I feel this collaboration could go. You know, before now, you keep on hearing people in the tech industry talk about government not supporting, government not doing anything to assist. They used to talk a lot about it, but I think it's just of recent that they've started communicating. I'm saying this because communication, for me, is everything when we talk of collaboration. If you are not clear on what you want, the support that is needed, the other party might not understand. So you might think that they get it, but they don't get it. So I hired some guy that worked with me. He was supposed to be the technical or the tech person in my business. And I noticed that for like 6 months, when we have engagement, when we have meetings, this guy does not talk. But he came in very recommended, as in like, this guy is good. So he doesn't talk to anybody, he's just there. So you ask him questions, basic questions. Of course, I do buy and sell in business, but you ask him basic questions that is supposed to assist the organization. He can't express himself. He can't even speak to the issue for anybody to understand. So he stayed there with us, just doing his stuff, making sure that the internet is working, making sure that everything, the app that we're using, nobody has issues. Then one day he disappeared. Nobody saw him again. And we call, what happened? He said, he just couldn't mix in that space of people doing that kind of business. And for me, it's a communication issue. So you might find yourself where you're like, government is not doing, what exactly? And I thank God that today, the Akwa Ibom tech community, they've developed that interest to engage government. They've started doing that. And government is now seeing clearly, this is what this guy needs. They need internet. Internet should be in Akwa Ibom so that the tech industry will thrive. You now understand that the space is required. We need places where people can go, collaborate, and communicate. So that's why today we have the Ibom Leadership and Entrepreneurial Development Center. What do we intend to do? We want to develop men and women of character. We want to be able to develop skills that is lacking, especially for the people that speak the tech language, to be able to communicate for those that do not understand, communication skills, and also some other soft skills that will enhance that communication so that collaboration can thrive.
Great. Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause. My good friend is saying, please help me with the names of noisemakers. I can hear some chit-chats going on. So please, on a serious note, I'd like you guys to please keep it low and keep it down because we're having very interesting and serious conversations here. Thank you very much, Honorable Imeowa. We didn't plan the sequence, but from the things you said, it leads me to call on Nanke because she laughs, because she could resonate, the things she was saying, she could resonate with the things, the things could resonate with her. Nanke is actually a cultural transformation expert. She's very interested in those conversations around soft skills and running an organization besides the tech. So a lot of us talk about tech, running a startup, putting together tech founders. But yes, again, you would introduce yourself and tell us what you do in this space, how we'll get Akwa Ibom to be the next tech destination, but importantly, talk about how you play in that space. 2 minutes, please.
2 minutes, wow.
I know, right?
Thank you very much, and thank you for your contribution so far. I feel that collaboration is pretty much business extension. So like you rightly said, I run a practice that is mainly focused on culture transformation. And one of the, can you hear me, please? Okay. One of the biggest areas of concern for us and the gap we are really trying to cover is the fact that we have a lot of businesses that are not transgenerational. And that's because we are not paying attention to the core of the business itself. Mainly our focus can be on physical assets and every other thing that we can see physically, but in transfer of the ideologies, in transfer of the beliefs, in transfer of the patterns and the values that help us build long term, we found that those are missing in the ecosystem. So for me, the focus of culture transformation as it relates to collaboration is bringing together different synergies, aligning both the mind, aligning both the core of a business, and aligning the resources that are required. Because we can go ahead and see on the surface level that collaboration is pretty much about having people within your ecosystem who have alignment with you or who have the skills or the tools that you require. But the truth is that we need to understand why we are collaborating and what we are collaborating for. Because we can go ahead and collaborate and then we build short-term and short-lived businesses. But then we can collaborate by going the depth of exactly what we are trying to create beyond the surface. Exactly what we are trying to create as a brand Africa, as a brand Akwa Ibom, do you see? And then go down to really merge that with a product or with a business. I feel that when we talk about collaboration, we truly need to understand why we need to collaborate, who we are collaborating with, the resources we require to collaborate, and exactly what we want to build, so that it goes beyond the superficial knowledge of, oh, I'm a startup, I want to create something new, to really building down into our roots, so that generations from now, we can look back and be like, yes, we have created something solid, we have created something that the next generation can piggyback off of and continue to build. So that's where I would stop my conversation for now. We said 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. And I think you are very efficient in your use of the 2 minutes. So, Wana, your turn. And Wana is traditionally a strategy expert, and he spent most of his career in the financial services industry. I guess the cap he's wearing here is that of a funder. But of course, you are free to talk about any other aspect of the collaboration you want to. But again, yes, introduce yourself within the 2 minutes, hopefully, and then talk about how you see collaboration, from your own experience, helping support this agenda of making Akwa Ibom the next tech destination.
Thank you, Odion. Thank you very much. Yes, I wear a number of hats, but the hats I wear for this event are more around advisory, strategy, funding, and intermediation, right? As well as corporate transformation. And what I see as far as the concept of collaboration is concerned is one that everybody seated in this hall should be extremely interested about. Because I've spent quite a while working for and advising companies. And one key thing I see that's emerging is a situation which I'm sure we've seen in one shape or form or the other, where companies that do not collaborate die. And it is something that, right down to the very functions that we carry wherever we work, we find that if we are not if we don't grow into that collaborative mindset, we find out that we become less relevant. So your relevance these days as a company, as a professional, as an individual, is tied to your fluidity in collaboration, your ability to collaborate. Which takes me to a point that the global chairman and CEO of EY, a global advisory firm, Carmen DeSibio, giving a paper at the World Economic Forum earlier this year, said that half of the companies on the Standard & Poor's exchange will go extinct in 10 years. They will fail in 10 years, simply because in the various industries they operate in, they have built themselves into silos, sort of. And they've been more or less, sorry, this is a buzzword, they've been horizontally integrated. And what does horizontal integration mean? Horizontal integration is basically where every company is in competition, standing on their own, competing against each other, and everybody is trying to do the same thing. Whereas the model is being flipped to where industries and companies are now vertically integrated. And what is vertical integration? Very simple. Everybody comes around, becomes more collaborative, becomes more cooperative. Define what your shared objectives and values are, and then essentially co-create solutions that you can share, cutting costs in that process, automating even better, and having a bigger market to play in, and consequently a bigger share of the pie. So in my experience, that's really what collaboration means. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mona. So typically, panel sessions like this would, for you to get the meat of it, it would take about 1 hour, and maybe we have 2 or 3 panelists. But unfortunately, with collaboration, you can't have just 2 or 3 people. As a matter of fact, there are people like, there's no startup founder. Okay, well, I'm a startup founder, but I'm not a panelist. We don't have the regulators, so the legal people here. I know Banwa Nigodalo should be on this panel. Udo Odoma and Bello Sage, they are major partners here. We should hear from them, but unfortunately we can't. And we also have people from the federal government. We have the representative of the special advisor to the president on trade, investment, and industry. Those conversations are very important, and hopefully, when we meet and greet outside of this place, we would continue the conversation. I'll just use the last round, because I think we are coming to the end of the panel discussion, to talk about, I'll say, solutions, because most of these conversations come up with the things that are not working. And if you notice, I've been kind of shoehorning the conversation into making Akwa Ibom the next tech destination. I'm very passionate about it. I didn't speak much about myself, but yes, I am from here. I'm very interested in the tech community. I'm a startup founder. I've also worked in tech for close to 2 decades. Actually, 2 decades. I've been building, managing, and implementing technology solutions. I run an organization that is fostering these conversations around collaboration, either from a corporate innovation point of view, where we midwife that conversation between corporates and the innovation community, or the university industry collaboration, where we are trying to put universities in conversation with the technology and innovation ecosystem. So we will make progress when it comes to financial inclusion, healthcare, education, and all those indices of development. So again, I know all of you are working hard in this space and trying to get things done. So my last round of questions, 2 minutes each, if you don't mind, would be for you to propose what you are looking for. So for me, what am I looking for? I'm looking for more collaboration. I'm looking for more conversations where the man in government is talking with the startup founder, is talking with the person from academia, and co-creating the problems, so that people are not building tech solutions out of context. They are building solutions, whether tech or innovation solutions, within the context of the person you are providing the solution for. So that's what I'm looking for. That's what I spend my daily time doing, fostering these collaborative relationships. So, Prof, I'll come to you. What are you looking for? What do you want out of this? What do you want out of this kind of conversations? And perhaps let's say your client might be on this TL. Whoever you're looking for might be here. So just use the 2 minutes and say what you're looking for and how we can progress these conversations. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you so much. So for me, from the academic point of view, I'm looking forward to where we can actually intentionally implement the triple helix model, where we have the university, the academia, the government, and the industry collaborating to co-develop, co-implement, and co-design solutions. So I'm also looking forward to where we can have, I sat down thinking, why don't we have 6 tertiary institutions in this state with the University of Uyo as the foremost institutions. So why can't we have innovation hub in the university that we can harvest all the young talents, harness their energy, their creativity, and come up with solutions to our own specific challenges. So that is why I'm here, and that is what I hope to achieve with this conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tony?
So what I would like to see is, I would like to see a lot of, should I put it, backward integration. So what we've had for the past 9-10 years in Akwa Ibom has been that we have had to create a system for innovation, create the market at the same time. And at this point in time, we're looking out for more collaborations to be able to create a bigger market, a bigger infrastructure that has everybody covered. For example, Prof talked about having a hub in the schools. So while we're trying to co-create around that, we are already having people who are passing from the schools and coming into the hubs, and then there's a pipeline for them to be able to have jobs. So what I feel for Akwa Ibom is, one of our key strengths is the fact that we are really good in Akwa Ibom in talent development. So what we can now look at is, how can we have collaboration from government, regulatory bodies, funders, the whole ecosystem, and then be able to see how we can churn out more talent. But in this case, instead of having like a brain drain where they have to leave and go to Lagos or Abuja or abroad to go work, we can now retain them here, build more startups to employ them, and be able to create a good economic base for not just the people who are working, but for every other person, even the market woman down the streets can also benefit from. So those are the things that I'm looking at for us to be able to see how we can bring it into fruition. But I believe that the work has already been started. This event is a good platform to accelerate that. And in the next 1 or 2 years, we'll begin to see that happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tony. Ime?
Tax. I think tax. Government wants to find a way to collect tax from all the people earning $5,000. Because if we are able to collect tax from all the big monies, we'll be able to do more roads. We're able to come to Ikot today because of the infrastructure. The road is good. So in a few minutes, you can leave Uyo, you come here, you can spend time up till late in the night, and you go back. The security in Akwa Ibom State is top-notch. I can say that when you compare to neighboring areas. So tax, one, for me, is we need to know how government can plug in and get those tax to be able to fund infrastructure. Then also job creation. Like I said, the tech community in Akwa Ibom, they're already doing so much. Jobs has been created. People are more aware of technology. Sometime in 1996, we used to queue up, as my cousin said, we used to queue up to open email address. As in, we come out, we queue up in this same Uyo, NEPA line. We used to go there to queue up so that we open email address. And I wasn't so lucky to open email address then. So in 2003, someone, someone now, just showed me how to open email. And I'm like, can you imagine what we used to queue up to do? And how many years after, you look, in fact, one of the things that actually made me not follow you people, Odion, you and we used to have one place we used to call U2. This guy's name, Eddie. You know, we used to gather there, we had a cyber cafe and all of that. But you know, the fact that I almost paid money to open email address made me not join you guys in tech industry. So I was like, really? So a few years after, these guys might tell that food I used to eat, I mean, you didn't have to pay for it. So for me, there is so much work that has been done already by the tech industry. I know personally I've employed a couple of persons from some of the tech hubs. And for me, it's easy for me to send out adverts for jobs, but I hardly do that. I only go to some of the hubs and like, I need someone that can do this, because I know that way they are going to be able to send out a lot of young persons, get them employed, get them engaged. And for government, if there is employment, then they are at peace. So that's what I'm in for.
Thank you very much. Please, the guys at the stands, shortly, please, can you guys turn down your conversations? The chatter is too much. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, gosh, I get power. That's everything just silent. I beg you guys, tone it down a bit. Thank you. Nake, please, over to you. What do you want to see?
So I believe that success leaves clues, but I find that the reason why we'll be having this sort of conversation on collaboration is because we don't have a lot of references for young or startup businesses as well. So it would be good to see a lot of collaboration with people who have been successful, who've had track records of success. Now, I know we would call them for forums or we'll call them for discussions like this, but I think it's not enough because we need to build systems where individuals can understand how to really build. I'm legacy focused and I'm foundation focused, so you would find my conversations going towards that direction. But it would be good to have, to democratize, I won't use the word hubs, but would I say business institutions that actually promote African business models? Because what we'll find is that we are leveraging business models from outside, from other climes where these business models have worked or that have been exposed to areas where their reality has birthed those business models. And we find that those are the business models that we are implementing in Nigeria or adopting. And there's already a fault in that because if the foundation is faulty anyway, you really cannot build. But if you take a quick glance at businesses that are growing now, the only references they have truly is all of the models you see outside. But I'd really like us to start to collaborate, permit me to use that word, with African business models, with models that reflect how we have built success over time, with models that reflect how the guy in Opiweka has built success in Aba markets, with models that reflect how we've had successful business owners right here in Akwa Ibom State. So by the time we begin to, harness, or would I say extract that knowledge, it begins to become our own method of operating. And then we can proliferate that across different, hubs, different centers in Nigeria and outside the country. The reason why we are frustrated again and why we are still having this conversation is that we are still picking and choosing models. We are still picking and choosing ideas. We are still picking and choosing what we assume is collaboration. But we need to begin to look inward and pay attention to what is going on here. I mean, I could give examples, maybe not go there, but I could give examples of how things have literally worked in a jiffy between maybe Nigeria and Guinea, where I operate most times. And you ask yourself, how did that happen? These are unmentioned, uncharted transaction models that nobody knows about. It's a network that nobody knows about. But if I needed to get finances, for instance, it comes in seconds. I mean, physical cash. And you're asking yourself, where have these people been? What is going on? So there are secret models, if I could use that word, within the African ecosystem that we haven't paid attention to. But you will find that most business owners are very focused on the shiny objects that are outside our shores. And because of that, we are not able to build deep-rooted foundational businesses. And there is a dirge. So even when we speak about collaboration, we will still come back to this problem. Back to what you said about building vertical integrations, you would find that even at the lowest rung of team, formulation, there's no trust. So if there's no trust, when I'm solving problems, it's conflict. If there's no trust, when I want to collaborate, I don't even trust you enough to collaborate with you. So I can't develop new solutions. And even when the solutions look new, I'm already trying to find out how I'm going to manipulate you at the top so that it gets destroyed all by itself. So in the concept of collaboration, I would say, please, let us begin to build our own African business models. Let us begin to pay attention to how we can build deep roots within Africa and begin to propagate that. That way we can build trust within me and you. It's not a borrowed psychology, not a borrowed pattern. You see what I'm saying?
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I'll just add, because I have a bias for academia, right? So I would say these things that have happened, research needs to come in. And the people that know how to do research well are the people from academia or the academic community. So I would implore everyone to work with people in academia to help do this research and codify things that have worked. So like when you codify it and you make it available to everyone, we all learn better and become better.
Get your number.
So they will come to you, Prof. So Wana, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Odiong. Nanka, you make a brilliant point, and quite frankly, you touched on the point I wanted to make in my comments around this. And that's really the issue of trust. And what I really wanted to open with as a Christian is the question of working together. Can two work together except they agree? You see, a lot of the times, the solutions to our problems are lost in the models, the papers, the strategies, the plans, and all of that. And in my experience advising companies and working in strategy for over 20 years, I've found that the solutions are normally the simplest things that are so simple that we don't see them. The issue of trust is so key in collaboration. How I wanted to couch it is the issue of one thing which is anathema to collaborativeness, and that is pride. If you really think about it, the biggest enemy of cooperation and collaboration is pride. That emotional investment in this is my thing, this is our thing, that emotional sunk cost that creates that sunk cost bias. That look, I have traveled down this road so far and put in so much. How can, at this last minute, when probably something is just about to happen for me, all of a sudden you're saying I should share that glory? You see, so the battle with our primal instincts, our base instincts as human beings, devoid of all the fancy whatever, and trust me, I've seen fancy stuff from McKinsey, PwC, all those guys. At the end of the day, I have found that forget all those things. If you want the company to work, get the people to trust each other. Identify where pride resides and creates resistance, and find a way to either eliminate, reduce, mitigate, but just take pride out of the picture. You will be shocked at what will happen. And so I'll close with this point. If we want to be successful, all of us, represented by government, academia, the NGO sector, I'll put you, Tony, in NGO because you pretty much work for free, right? Nanke, myself on the funding part, we all just need to find a way to set aside the past. Divest from that emotional, I don't know, hold that pride has over us. And let us just, it's easy to say, look at the big picture. But that big picture sometimes can be so difficult to see if pride is covering us. So for me, let's deal with pride. Let's deal with trust. We will create better collaboration. We will have a bigger pie to share, and we'll all be the better for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, like I said earlier, when you talk about collaboration, you can have representatives from 20, 30, 40 sects. But I just want to recognize the legal people, because I do know that startups, we are trying to build a lot of startups in this community. We need them to build the right kinds of businesses. A lot of people have the right idea, but they don't have the right kind of business. So just Bawan Nigodalo, where is the representative? Udodoma, you guys want to start so that they can see you and they meet you after this. So please just stand up for recognition. Inem, you want to stand up? That's legal concierge. Where's Bawan Nigodalo? Akin, are you here? So for the startups and everyone that's looking for legal advice, these are the people you should go to make better businesses, so that as you are building, you are in compliance with the law. You may have spoken about tax. You need to be in compliance so you can pay your tax well. Therefore, this whole thing will work for all of us. So thank you very much. So the very last round, I'd like to talk about collaboration in this way, or finish collaboration in this way. Food. My collaborative food is beans and plantain. Thank you. You, Wana, let's go like that. So beans and plantain, I like to collaborate. I like when they collaborate. It makes my digestive system work well. You?
Nothing beats fufu and afang with goat tea.
Nanka, you?
It is the weirdest combination. Please don't laugh at me. It's yam and groundnut.
Yay. Tony?
So for me, it's beans and bread.
Rice and beans mixed, not rice then beans.
Prof.
Yeah,
Prof.
so for me, ekbang kuko and yeah.
Hold on. Prof, you said? And Ikbankuku and yam. Prof.
All right. Put your hands together for my panelists.
No, please, hold on. Prof, what is that called in chemistry, please?
H2O.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for them. They need to have a group photograph, please. Madam said granite and yam. I want for back end. We are in the middle end. We are okay. Excellent.